Okay, yesterday I asked you to complete the rest of the extra practice for 7.3, so these 4 problems. I'm going to go through those 4 problems with you right now and then get you going on today's stuff. Okay, check your work as you go. So, number 7. Just so I know, how many of you finished all 4 of them? How many of you feel very confident about number 7? You're like, I think I got that one. Like, how many are like, I got an answer, I'm just not sure? Okay. Well, let's check it out. Number 7 is a division problem. Okay? So, first step, we're going to change this to multiplication, and we are going to flip all of this. Now, I guess actually, let me change that. Before I do any steps, technically I could reduce each fraction first. So I can't reduce there, right? This x minus 2, if it helps you, put it in parentheses because it has to be reduced together. You can't just cancel the x's. Okay, and then I can reduce here. Now, can I cancel anything here? Yeah, I can get rid of those. Okay, now just keep in mind when it's division, you cannot cross-cancel right now or cross-reduce. You have to flip it before you cross-reduce. Okay, so that's sometimes why I don't show that step, but I think it's important, especially when you're flipping it. When I change that to multiplication, what was up here goes to the bottom, and what was down here goes to the top. You're flipping it, right? So up here we now have x minus 9, and down here we now have x plus 1. Okay? And then you can now cross-reduce or cross-cancel. The x plus 1s are gone. And I'm left with x times x minus 9. And I'm left with x minus 2. Now, I am okay with you leaving it in that format. If you want to write it as x squared minus 9x over x minus 2, you could. Okay, you do need your restrictions. Your restriction is x cannot equal 2, 6, 9, negative 1, and 6, but we've already got 6. And usually you put those in numerical order. I did not there, but that's okay. There we got it. How many got it? All right. How many figured out their mistake? Good. Always important. Any questions? All right. Next one. The difficult thing about number 8 is it's not factored. Now, these were the types of problems that when we did factoring earlier in the year, I was showing us saying, look, you got to factor 4 different things before you can even start the problem. Start to finish the problem. Okay, so this, hopefully you recognize no a terms. It makes it really easy. 2 things that multiply make negative 3, add to negative 2. It's x minus 3 and x plus 1. This becomes x plus 7, x minus 3. And this one becomes x plus 7 and x minus 9. I was trying to mess Matt up there. Okay, and this one is x plus 1, x minus 1, difference of 2 squares. All right. And so from there, it's multiplication. Try to reduce. That's gone. Nothing else. That's gone. Cross-reduce.
Oh, the minus 3. So is your answer x minus, yep, okay. X minus 9. Wait, but doesn't that just equal...
Cannot.
Okay, great, sorry.
Yep.
No, sorry, that's it. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, we can't have positive negative 1, negative 7, or 3. All right. Woohoo! How many got it? All right, questions? Skip 9? No way, man. That's one of the bestest. All right, number 9er. Two things that multiply. Actually, in this one, that one's pretty easy to factor. X times x minus 2, right? Just pulling out x. Okay? This right here, not too bad to factor either. You get x times x squared minus 4. But then that's difference of two squares, which is x times x plus 2x minus 2. You got x plus 7. Please note that I saved the sum of two cubes for last. Question? I don't have to flip it. I didn't flip it. Yeah, I factored the x minus 4. Yeah. But the sum of two cubes, I don't know how many of you remember that pattern. If you remember it, great. If you don't, maybe look it back up. Okay? But you take the cubed root of that plus the cubed root of that. And then you have your trinomial, which is a squared, if we call this our front term is a, minus, we got 2x plus 4. So this is minus 2ab, or the AB, the cubed root of AB. So it's easier if you go this squared, this cubed root of that squared, or think of it this, if you take that and square it, and then put those together to get the middle term. However you decide to remember the pattern, but it's a good pattern to memorize. It's not an easy one to memorize until you've used it a bunch. How many of you remembered that there was even a pattern there? Okay, how many knew the pattern off the top of their head? Fantastic. Okay. How many knew where to find the pattern? How many found it in your book? How many found it on Google? How many just gave up? Okay. Don't just give up. All right. So you're here. Can you factor this? The quadratic? No, you can't. Okay. So now we look to reduce. Can't reduce here. You can reduce here. Cross reduce that and that, that and that. I'm left with x squared minus 2x plus 4 all over x plus 7. Where x cannot equal and negative 7 in it. All right. Holy moly. That was awesome. As long as you know. All right. Any questions? Yeah. X cannot equal 0 right here. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, I'm about to lose you, so last one. All right? One thing I didn't point out earlier in the lesson is, even before you do this, like if you have the exact same quadratic, you have the exact same thing on the top and bottom, you could reduce if the whole thing's the same. Like if this whole quadratic matched that whole quadratic, you could just cancel. That may be obvious to you, but just so you know, you can do that. Okay? Dad? Question? No? All right. All right, so this becomes x plus 5, x minus 3. This one becomes x minus 8, x plus 5. Up here becomes x minus 8, x plus 9. Thank you. No, actually x, that would be x minus 9, x plus 1. X plus 9, x minus 1. Thank you. Okay? And this one would become x minus 8. I haven't flipped anything yet. Okay? So I'm going to reduce now. Reduce, reduce. Reduce, reduce. Okay? And now I'm flipping it. So I'm going to change that to multiplication. You guys get in the habit, if you're doing this, do not move anything until you actually physically write a multiplication sign there. Right after you do that, then move things. So the x minus 8 goes up, x minus 1 goes down. Okay? And those are gone, x minus 3 and x minus 1. X cannot equal. All right. Wowzers.